Hey everybody, Alex here with Momentum Charting. Today we are going to be getting into a much needed update on the QQQ. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a quick favor, jump down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. Doing both of those things is the only way you are going to ensure you get all my updates in the next couple weeks over the Qs, broad markets, all your favorite stocks, some really fun and exciting stuff happening in the markets over the next couple of months. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's dive in here to the charts. So just quickly, just going to be a session where I kind of have an idea of where I want to go on this over the Qs, but I think it's going to be a kind of fun, informative, and exciting session, maybe a little bit longer than my normal 5 to 6 minute video. I just have kind of some things I want to say, and I wish, honestly, when I first started getting trading, I found someone that was I found a video like this that was kind of able to tell me the truth about trading and kind of reveal some things that a lot of other people and a lot of other channels aren't. So I think that a lot of you guys are going to find some of the information I'm presenting here useful. So yeah, let's dive into it. So last time we talked, I told you guys that I was keeping my eyes open for what Elliott wave traders like to refer to as an ABC type correction. So that would be from these top here around July 14th would be get something like an A, a B, and then a C leg to the downside. Okay, so that was kind of my default prognosis, and that is what I was looking for, and potentially still is what I'm looking for. But again, what I was saying, and just to be extremely clear, I want to make sure that we are breaking to the downside on certain time frames, importantly daily and 3 hour, before I just say to you guys, oh, there's a crash coming, there's a correction coming. Just because this is my base case, right, like an ABC type correction, guys, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And that's what I can promise you from my channel, always moving forward, starting, back when I started the channel about a week and change ago, and forever. I'm not ever going to be one of those channels that sits there and like takes this bullshit macro view like the markets are doomed, we're crashing, and continues with the same nonsense day after day, week after week, predicting a crash for the last 10, 15 years, and then finally, a correction of 20% comes after the market's gone up 1,000%. Oh, see, I was right. I am never going to be that guy, and I can promise you that. If I'm wrong on something, I'll definitely admit to it, and I always say that the most important thing as a trader, the two most important things is, one, is to exercise patience. Just because you think there's a good setup, or you hear from someone there's a good setup, make sure to go in and do your own research. Don't rely on what somebody else is telling you. Do your own research, but be very, very patient and wait for the setup that you're looking for, not somebody else's setup. Wait for your ideal setup to enter the trade. That is the first most important thing, is exercising patience. The second most important thing as a trader is to remain extremely flexible. Okay, so be willing to change your ideas, and I've said that from the first introductory video I did on this channel about my trading style. I always like to remain flexible. Just because my base case is A, B, C correction, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen, right? And I very clearly said in the last video update that yes, I am looking for this leg to break down, but again, I am looking, I need to see it. I need to see it with my own eyes before I just start saying, okay, this daily 3 hours breaking to the downside, it looks like this C wave is ready to unfold. So again, you have to remain flexible, but and again, on my channel, I am not going to ever be one of those channels that's a doom and gloom channel. I stick to my case. Oh, markets are definitely going to crash. Guys, I don't need to do that, because I believe, honestly, I have the skill set and the tools in place where I can very clearly see if there are strong developments to the downside in markets, and we need to start really, really worrying about big corrections in the broad markets and even shorter term time frame corrections. I have the tools in my toolkit and the skill set where I can see those types of things developing, so it doesn't worry me to stick to a broad macro bearish outlook and just keep pumping the same thing. Yes, those types of channels get lots of views, lots of people in the comment section saying how great they are. Yeah, we all agree, markets are doomed, markets are screwed, huge correction. But again, I don't like repeating the same thing that's wrong month after month, day after day, year after year. Again, I will never, ever, ever do that on this channel. I can promise you that. I'm going to always go with the evidence that is right in front of me, and that's it. Always remain flexible, be patient, and have the willingness to change your outlook if that's what it takes. So, all that being said, again, I hope somebody can take something from those two most important rules in trading. I wish I had something similar to go by when I first got started. So anyway, is this developing as an ABC correction? Possibly, but as of yet, there's no evidence of that. This downside leg is not breaking down yet. So we just need to be really, really careful here, because again, there's not necessarily going to be a correction here of 8 to 10% on a C wave. We could very well just continue up with a tiny correction here, and this thing could continue pumping for the foreseeable future. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at here today. Is this breaking down, and is there a C wave down setting up? Well, guys, I'm going to be perfectly honest and tell you that I'm not seeing it as of yet. Okay, let's just pull back to the weekly here, and you can see I'm on the trading view favorite indicator, the momentum indicator, and you can kind of see here just on a weekly time frame, you know, momentum still strongly headed to the upside. Is this going to break down soon? We don't know. I don't know, but there is no sell signal in place as of yet on a weekly time frame. So I don't know. Is it going to continue higher? Could, but as of yet, there's definitely no sell signal, and also there is no sell signal on a daily time frame. Now, one of the really important things I like to do when I'm coming off of these momentum resets, okay, on a daily time frame, what I like to do is always set a trend line, a horizontal trend line, at the first hints of pullback and recovery. So for instance, back here on April 21st, we had this big push to the upside and then had this momentum reset and then pushed back up. So I set a trend line there. And that's always kind of my baseline case to see until the entirety of the upward move on momentum happens. This is going to be my point where I am looking for a failure of the uptrend. And interestingly enough, you can see here back on, again, we're on a daily time frame here. So May 3rd, 2021, we got the first real look at a breakdown of our first horizontal trend line. That happened here on May 3rd. And you can kind of see how that developed after that. Here was the signal basically on May 3rd. And then on the 4th, we got that really big candle to the downside, and then started working down over the next few days until we bottomed, and then started working back up nicely to the upside. So is this what's happening here going to resemble what happened here between April 20th and May 3rd? Undetermined as of now. So I've got basically the first major dip and then a reset point here on July 22nd. So I'm closely watching this, of course, for a breakdown to the downside, start getting momentum to the downside, and that will be my first warning sign / sell signal for the C wave to develop if and when that happens. But guys, as of yet, that has definitely not occurred. So I don't want to jump the gun and say markets are going down, because there's no evidence to me as of yet. What's happening here on this momentum could resemble this, right? Could resemble this, but it could also resemble what happened here in December of 2020, started getting these big moves to the upside all the way through February. 2 months of massive upward momentum and price action, which you can see here on the candles and the price chart. Just started for months and months. Yeah, we kept dipping down, but it kept just pushing higher and higher and higher until we eventually got this pretty reasonable sell-off in February 21. But so what I'm talking about in being patient here on these trends, you just kind of want to let these develop over time, and then just eventually these trends always reveal themselves as what they're trying to do. So I connected these points eventually here, December 14th, 2021 and January. And then you could kind of see how this uptrend, daily uptrend, was building, and then it looked to me like an even higher acceleration of momentum, and then a clear breakdown of what had developed here on the 22nd of February 2021. And that's kind of when we started getting this really big plunge to the downside and larger size correction. So are we going to get something like this? Are we going to get something like this? Or are we going to get something that looks even more like this in August 2020, where we just had this big move to the upside, and just kind of pan out here? A lot of you probably remember this move here from mid-August 2020 until the end of August, just this kind of blow-off top type scenario, and then had this really big pullback to the downside. So I don't know, right? I'm not sure, but what I do know is that we need to exercise patience with this daily trend to kind of let it see how it develops and how this thing goes over the next few weeks. Certainly, we could come down here over the next week, couple weeks of trading, and break this and have a scenario in place here like May 3rd where we got this sizable correction. But I don't want to call for that yet, because there's absolutely no evidence in place of that happening here. So I want to exercise an abundance of patience in letting this daily trend on the Qs develop to kind of see where this is heading. Now, let me dive down a little bit deeper and just show you here my thoughts on a 3-hour time frame. And what I've got here I think is really, really nice. I've got 2 connection points here, one on June 16th, one on June 21st, and then this most recent dip here on July 20th. So my first warning here of a potential C wave down is going to be if and when this 3-hour trend line breaks to the downside. And one of those two things happening: either the daily momentum bubble breaking below this level I have set here, or the go back to the 3-hour here, this nice upward sloping trend line to break to the downside. But guys, as you can see, there is nothing even closely resembling that happening right now. What it looks to me like is we're getting set for a potentially lengthy series here of movement to the upside on this chart, over the next month and change. So again, just because my base case is ABC, I'm not necessarily really seeing that yet. And to me, what that would take is a pretty precipitous correction here very shortly. This thing maybe coming up a little bit more and then rolling just straight over. breaking this trend line around August 6th, something like that, within the next week and a half of trading, and just breaking straight down. Is that going to happen? I don't know. It did kind of happen here in April. We got this big move to the upside, but then you could clearly see this thing starting to break down. Negative divergence here, right here, April 29th, and then just starting to head lower. Broke the trend line here on May 6th and had this period of correction May 6th through about May 13th, May 14th, and then prices started continued higher. So base case again, this environment, yes, it's very, very difficult still, in my opinion, to get these big corrections, and we definitely haven't had an opportunity, as I was mentioning in the last Q's video, for a sizable correction in a year, and still, as of yet, from what I'm seeing, that case has not presented itself as of yet. So we just want to be very, very careful here. And again, in this environment, on every single dip, buyers are entering the market in a strong way. And, you know, again, daily momentum, weekly momentum, weekly still pointed up, daily supported here in a pretty strong fashion at around 50 and pointed back to the upside strong. 3-hour momentum still pointed strongly straight to the upside with a upward trending support line for this momentum. So guys, there's, for if you're bearish again in the market, there's work to be done here to confirm a C wave to the downside, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not seeing evidence of that yet. So base case, we have to side with the bulls here until I see evidence that supersedes that, and there's some sort of a short-term breakdown in momentum here, and we're just not really seeing that yet. So do I believe an ABC correction is still valid here? Possibly. I don't know how high this could possibly carry up before that negates, but certainly this is in the cards here, but I'm not seeing that on any of my momentum indicators, including the weekly, including the daily, including the 3-hour, including the 15-minute. That just is not presenting itself here yet. So if you are bearish this market and waiting patiently for a major correction, just again, be careful. Make sure to keep coming back to this channel because, you know, I'm following these broad markets on a regular basis, and I'm going, any really significant updates, obviously I'm going to jump in midday and let everybody know what I'm seeing. But as of yet, there's been really nothing to report since we bottomed here. Still waiting for this to break down, just not seeing it yet, guys. So C wave maybe, but as of yet it is not happening, has not happened. So we need to kind of be patient here, side with the bulls until we see where the end of this leg to the upside momentum, where it takes us, what type of trend develops, something like this, something more that looks like this, or something where we get one of these huge moves to the upside and then a blow off top which takes prices much, much lower. I think all three are potentials right now, but we do need to be exercise an extreme amount of patience here, see what happens, and we have to side with the bullish case right now, just because that looks like what's developing. Okay, so yeah, it's been almost 20 minutes now. I know I've said a lot, probably repeated a couple of my points a few times, but I think they are all very valid and all very important, and I hope some of you found them very valuable too as well. So diving in here just to take a quick look at our MACD, which I do like to use for shorter term trading. You can see here, you can see this blue line and this black line. That's the longer term alignment of the MACD. This is operating still in a very, very, very bullish zone. So to me, any short term pullbacks are only to be watched for areas of buying, to rebuy. Okay, so that's the first thing that I can see very, very clearly by looking at this chart of the Qs. The alignment of this long-term MACD very strong, and also the we did get this breakdown here, right here. Let me get a better line there. We got this breakdown somewhere here around 14th of July of MACD, and that did lead to this sell-off over the period of a few days. The biggest sell-off, obviously, overnight from the 16th to the 19th. But then again, just quickly bought up. Again, broke this downtrend here on July 20th. And from there, just has taken off to the upside. So even on the short term here, there's no signs of this market really slowing down yet. And I just want to be really clear on that. What I'm kind of waiting for to see on this MACD, at some point here, we're going to get where you can see like a sharp decline, kind of like what happened here on July 14th. Then came back to the upside. So I'm kind of waiting for that to see where I'm going to set my next trend line up. But if we get something like this, I'll set my trend line on the MACD chart right here and just kind of follow this to see where this goes. And a warning sign to be short-term bearish would be if that came back down to the downside and this MACD ended up rolling back to the downside. But all of this has not even happened yet, and I'm not sure exactly even where that to set that horizontal trend line yet. So kind of have to be patient here and watch how this happens, because as you can see, the reason I'm saying we need to be patient here, this one, yeah, July 14th did roll over back to the downside, but then you've got these, for instance, what was happening here in June 28th, you set that trend line there, and this just worked sideways in a strong fashion for a number of days. Let's see exactly how long here it was. So June 28th, and then broke down July 7th. So about 10 trading days, 9-10 trading days, and took prices much, much higher over the span of that 10 trading days. And until finally here on, let's see, just kind of see it, this here broke down around July 7th. Yeah, and that the day after July 7th is kind of where we got that breakdown, 360 down to 354, so about 6 points on the Qs. But then just the alignments of these markets overall just couldn't keep things down, and once again, buyers emerged quickly again. You can see even back here the strength of the MACD, the blue and black line here, just still strong. So to me, any short-term dip in these markets are to be viewed only as a buying opportunity, and that's exactly what happened here as this dip got bought up. So kind of watching for this to see, and these, when you're operating in these zones on this MACD, this is a really strong area. So these trends can go for a long period of time, 10, 15, 20 trading days where you're just churning up in these levels, just marching higher and higher and higher. So again, as a trader, I want all the evidence being put forward that yes, there's a correction that looks like it's going to be happening in the next few trading days. I'm not seeing that yet. I want to be really, really careful before I'm entering any shorts in the market, before I'm saying there's a C-wave plunge about to happen. But yeah, I've repeated that a number of times in this video. I want to see some evidence on the MACD chart. Definitely want to see some evidence on the 3-hour and daily. Not seeing it yet. So to me, there's nothing to do here yet but side with the bulls. And this is kind of an interesting week. Big things happening on the earning front. Tesla after hours today, and then after that in the week you've got really three super important earnings. You've got AMD earnings, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon, you've got some big players in the Qs. So there's certainly a possibility that blowout earnings on the majority of those stocks will lead confidence back in the market, and this thing just continues to march higher. And I don't want to be left behind on it. I have to, as of right now. Again, I've laid out my case here. I need to side with the bulls before I just have to with the earnings coming up, and until I'm seeing evidence that there is a turn to the downside in some sort of fashion here on the MACD chart, the 3-hour momentum chart, something that's telling me, Alex, that this market is ready to roll over and present a significant correction of some degree, have to side with the bulls. I'm not seeing any evidence as of yet of a C-wave correction, but that could change at any point. That is why you definitely want to go down to the bottom. Take 2 seconds of your time, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I got lots of cool and exciting updates over the next few weeks, next few months on broad markets. Eventually, yes, this thing is going to correct to the downside, and when it does, it's probably going to present a really, really nice trading opportunity to the downside. And I can promise you, I'm going to be ready for it when it does happen. You're going to want to be ready too. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. And thank you again. Interested in any feedback you've got, anything like that, any questions, as always, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Thank you again so much for watching. Hope to see you again on the next Q's update in the next couple of days, probably another update by Wednesday if nothing materializes between then and now. Thank you again for watching, and I will see everybody again shortly. Bye for now.